All right, we're back. So let's see, what do we got here? A couple things have come out within the past week that we wanted to give a little attention to, do our own style of review. And the first thing was the new Punisher series, which is, to me, symbolic of the frustrations I'm having with Marvel right now.
Everything condensed into this one issue.
Everything condensed right here. Great book, I thought. I know there's some folks who didn't like the book, but I enjoyed it. Rick Remender actually mentioned as one of the writers that people enjoy. Doing the Punisher book, I really enjoyed his take on this. An excellent premise, which is basically the Frank Castle wants to assassinate Norman Osborn. Why is it that the most insane person in the Marvel universe
makes the most obvious choice?
Yeah.
No, I mean, when I read that, I'm like, I'm like, this is perfect. I mean, for that to be like the first story in the Punisher, I'm like, that fucking makes sense to me.
Makes so much sense.
It's like,
yes.
People know that this guy needs to get taken out, and I guess there's only one guy who's willing and crazy enough to fucking do it. And it's the Punisher, and I'm like, that's so perfect.
It is. It
really
is.
is.
And I sat down, I read this, on your recommendation, because I'm not the biggest Punisher fan unless Garth Ennis is writing him, and even Garth Ennis is kind of slipped with being near
Matt
the end there.
Fraction's initial run on Punisher War Journal was fucking awesome, though, too.
But Rick Remender doing the Punisher, it's a real quick read, really.
Very quick read.
Why is this... And again, I don't hold Remender or any of the artistic team in this book responsible for what frustrates me about it. The great part is the story and what I think is really good execution. Mm-hmm. The part that frustrates me is it's a $3.99 book, okay? This book is $3.99, and here we are. The middle spread, this is where the staple is, okay? This here is where the story ends. Right past the middle spread where the staple is. The rest, a whole bunch, it's the Punisher saga, this reprint crap where they kind of like give you the Punisher's history. Okay, first, with the number of movies that have been made about the Punisher, with the number, with as much exposure as the Punisher gets, do we really need a history lesson on the Punisher?
Well, I mean, Marvel has been doing this. They did it with Ghost Rider. We talked about. Recently they did it with Ghost Rider. They did it with Deadpool #1, and yeah, there's a lot of with Deadpool and Ghost Rider. Yeah, there's kind of like a big story because they're not huge characters, and a lot of changes have come to their characters. But again, like they shouldn't have to put that stuff in the back. That people can go online and read the shit if they want. They go, like we said, they can go to Wikipedia and then they can read about their character. Fine, but everyone knows who the Punisher is.
Right.
His family was killed by mobsters, and he is just out to kill the bad guys.
Yeah,
that's the Punisher. Like you don't need this long, convoluted history of the Punisher in the Marvel universe. It doesn't matter. The character at its core has never changed.
No,
and I don't think Rick Remender is going to go back and revisit some of these old storylines with the Punisher. Mm-hmm. It just made no sense to have that in the Punisher book.
Right.
Everyone knows what he's about. That's it.
And I think, and again, unless someone at Marvel Editorial wants to come out and say it, again, this is the very mercenary way that they're going about things right now. But they know it's a #1 issue of the Punisher.
That's the problem with a lot of their newer books. All their #1 issues are $3.99, and then they throw that shit in the back.
Yeah, they throw
just
this
to
stuff
make
in the
them
back.
Because obviously the #1 issues sell really, really big for them.
So
so they're going to get the extra buck out of it while they can. Right,
exactly. You stole my thunder there. So I just find that really hard to reconcile as a reader because you're trying to get new readers. You're trying to attract new readership. When you're telling them now that the price point of a book is $3.99, and again, okay, yeah, if you want a new reader to pick up this book, and then it's someone who's never seen the Punisher before, then you do the bit in the back.
I mean, why don't they just have a fucking page in the back, just one page, telling you all the trade paperbacks that are currently in print for Marvel? Saying if and maybe hit some key graphic novels of stories that they want to tell, and try to get people to buy the graphic novels.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really
good idea.
Why
can't they do that?
Jeff Loeb, who we had a extensive conversation about last week, made a kind of a snarky comment on Word Balloon when he was talking about the Hulk book where he had She-Hulk and Thundera and all the female characters. Mm-hmm. I forgot the name of the group, the team, that was a female liberators or something. I apologize to the fans of that team for not remembering the name, but he makes a snarky comment that, well, now, we had reprinted a story from the Avengers showing that team before, and everyone said, well, why are they showing this? Well, there you go. Now you know why. Like, come on. That's how you justify charging extra money for reprinted material?
Yeah.
You know, stuff that's out in the trades, stuff that's been out everywhere that you can easily... I mean, Marvel even went, though, they did those free giveaways, a Daredevil saga, Secret Invasion saga. You know, if you want to get people into it and give them a whole history, which, by the way, they're going to ignore anyway.
Right.
Because if anything, another thing that Jeff Loeb has said is he doesn't understand how so many fanboys get into the whole history and continuity. Okay, if you're just going to disregard history and continuity from the get-go, then why are you bringing everybody up to speed on it?
Exactly. And I can't tell you, I never heard one person make a comment or heard anybody talking about, like, oh, thank God that they reprinted this old story with Thundera
and the Lady Liberators.
I'm like, oh, now I'm totally up to speed. This story would not have made sense, but thank God that they reprinted that fucking story, and thank God they shoved it down my throat for an extra $1.
Yeah, exactly. No, you are absolutely right. And that kind of maddens me because now that, again, is the justification that's given for putting out all this reprinted material. That's what the line they're selling me, they're selling you, and I'm not buying it. I'm really not buying it. And who was it? Yes, Locus Mortis said the same thing. You know, about Xboxes. Didn't care for all the reprinted crap wanting a script. He didn't want a script. And that's what's going on right now. And I think that's kind of the consensus with all the retailers I speak with all the fans I talk to. They don't care for Marvel's practice right now of putting all this reprint material and extraneous material in the back and charging extra for it.
So, I'm going to assume now by what Jeff Loeb said is that they know better than we do.
Well, you know, and yeah, I guess
they know what we want.
Well, but see, here's the thing, and I'm gonna put I'm gonna sound like I'm going back on what I just said, but if you want to give us all this reprinted material, fine. Don't charge us for it.
Right.
If you want to give us some extra pages, you know, with all this additional because you want to bring us up to speed, great. Just don't charge us for it. If you want to use that to give extra value, I've said this in the past, great. That gives it extra value. But by charging us more for it, that's taking away from the supposed value you're giving this material, and it's just frustrating your fan base. And yeah, and Jeff Loeb is saying, you know, that we don't understand what they are doing. Now, mind you, if you're going to charge me $3.99 for it, you better sell me on the fact that that's important to have in there.
Yeah, and it's not really at all.
You know, tell me why I need to have that story. Tell me why that's great. Right now, Marvel is raising prices, filling their books with reprinted material, and they are not selling me, their fan, on why it's important.
And let me just make one other remark about this. Deadpool #1, I really wanted to buy it because of the writer and the artist, but I refused to buy it because it was a #1. Mm-hmm. Or it was $3.99.
$3.99, right.
I refused to buy it. This, even though I love Rick Remender's stuff, and the story was really good, I didn't buy it. Even though I get a discount here, because I work here, I refuse to buy a $3.99 book from Marvel when they just stuff it full of shit. This is the only people that this is hurting is the creators on this book.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you make a really good point there. And you actually give me a segue into something that I want to get into, but we'll get into it in the next segment. So we hope you folks join us then.